Hi, welcome to our channel, Math as a Language. Today we're going to approach a topic that comes up from time to time, and whether we're at a grocery store or a line or wherever people come to realize who we are and our background and what we do. This happens often. More often than not, we get a statement of this sort, and perhaps you've made it yourself, and that, I was very good in basic math. I understood basic math really well. I was a good math student until I got to high school or until I got to algebra. More often than not, it's algebra that people use as the demarcation from their good experience with math to their not so good experience with math, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and give an approach or talk a little bit about that concept of what it takes, or our view in terms of what the difference between basic math and algebra, and perhaps address where the problem may have come in terms of your making that transition from basic math to the algebra. And I think to understand that, we're going to look at two things. To understand, first of all, that in basic math, and algebra, but we'll get to that later. In basic math, we're really dealing with just your basic four operations. The basic aspect has to do with the operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Those are your basic operations. Those are the things that you do with numbers. And the basic math experience is that we would like you to be able to become very, very good with these in order to be considered a very good basic math student. You should really be able to perform these operations with, generally speaking, the three types of numbers, if you will. Our numbers can be presented more often than not in terms of three types, and what we mean by that, let's back that up a little bit. I want this to be colons. So the three types would be our fractions. I'll give you an example of which would be like a 1/2 would be a fraction. You should be able to do your basic math operations, add, subtract, divide, and multiply with fractions, with decimals, whether it's a 0.34 or something like that, and also whether the number is presented as a percent, let's say 8%. Okay, so being able to perform these operations with your fractions, decimals, percent, that would be our goal, our hope, as for you to become a very good basic math student. Okay. The other thing that we want to recognize when you're dealing with basic math is that you do have these operations, and generally the teacher will give you a problem. When they give you a problem, let's make it really simple. Let's go with 7 plus 5. So you get to the point, you're in grade school, the teacher gives you a problem, 7 plus 5, and your goal, right or wrong, is what is that? What's the answer? What's the sum in this particular case? So more often than not, you get very comfortable, very good at finding the sum of these various problems, if you will. Okay. But here's the thing. This is only one case, if you will. Okay. This is one case. Now the teacher can give you a page of these things, and maybe they do. And that's where we start to lose our students. This is in one case. If the teacher chooses that you want to really practice it, they may give you 100 of these things, 100 cases of these problems, which it won't take long before that becomes pretty old. Okay, and here's what we want you to recognize, and we want you to come to terms with. Doing 100 of these problems will help you master the routine of adding or subtracting and so forth and on, but it really doesn't do anything. It loses its effect in terms of the major another aspect of it, where the algebra comes into play. Okay, and let me get to this, the point to be had here. So let's go to the algebra now. In algebra, again, you still have to deal with, and we're still adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So that hasn't changed. Okay, so you still have your operations, the operations that we talked about before. But generally, when a teacher gives you a problem in algebra, in algebra, when the teacher gives you a problem, let's go back here and erase this. This is the first concept here. We'll put 1 here. Okay. So when the teacher gives you a problem here, here we go. Okay. When the teacher gives you a problem in algebra, which kind of blows people away, they may give you something like this: x plus y, and more often than not, these, okay, I can work with. You know what to do with this, and most often than not, the many students went, what the heck am I supposed to do with these guys? And later you come to know that that the x and the y's, those guys are referred to as variables. Okay, and we know that in algebra that the variables take the place of numbers or are substituted with numbers, and you would find out what the variables are. But I don't know if we spend enough time sufficiently to answer the question, why do this? The why of it. And it's where the bridge, the schism occurs, if you will. And we're going to try to address that now. Remember these 100 cases? Going back to these 100 cases? First of all, as I said before, you will practice and you will get better and better at it. But at some point in time, and I suspect for many of us, it's going to be well before 100. Okay, these specific problems will lose its effect when it comes to helping you master the concept. Because in algebra, what we want you to focus on is the concept. All right? So it's the concept, and at some point in time, in any skill level, you become more proficient. But whatever you're doing, once you know the concept, you can become better at it. But practicing 100 or 1,000 problems won't. At some point, once the concept is mastered, this becomes unnecessary. Okay? So, to the heart of it. The difference between basic math and algebra is that rather than working with specific problems, okay, we work with the general rule. Because it's our belief in mathematics that once you understand the general rule, once you understand the concept, okay, you don't have to do 100 problems, okay? You will be able to move on to greater concepts and greater skills, if you will. So again, the difference between basic math and algebra is going from the specific to the general. We hope this helps, and we look forward to seeing you again in future videos.